Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we will learn what is empirical formula and how to find it. Let's get started. Okay. Empirical formula is also known as the simplest formula. It gives the element present in a compound. It is the simplest ratio between the elements. So let's look at the example. Formula for the glucose is C6H12O6. As I told you previously that the empirical formula is the simplest formula. So we have to simplify the C. 6 ones are 6, 6 twos are 12, and 6 ones are 6. So the empirical formula for this glucose is CH2O. So while looking at the empirical formula, you can easily understand that it is the simplest ratio between the elements. Okay, molecular formula. Molecular formula, it gives the actual number of the elements present in a molecule. Actual number of atoms present in a molecule is molecular formula. Let's have a look at few examples. So the first example I gave above was of glucose. The formula for the glucose is C6H12O6, and its empirical formula we have to simplify it. So its empirical formula would be CH2O. Okay, this was the first example. Let me give you some few more examples so you can have a better understanding of empirical formula and molecular formula. The molecular formula for benzene. The molecular formula for benzene is C6H6. This is the molecular formula for benzene. However, its empirical formula is CH. Now, what we have done, we have just simplified it 1 1, and the ratio is 1 1 here. So CH is the empirical formula of benzene. The third example is of butane. The molecular formula for the butane is C4H10, and this is the molecular formula for butane. And the empirical formula for butane, we have to just simplify it. It would be 5 and 2. C2H5. This is the empirical formula of butane. The fourth example is of carbon dioxide. So this is a tricky one for a few students because this question usually comes in P1 in MCQs, and it says that identify the empirical formula for the carbon dioxide. Few students get confused in it, but let me tell you that the molecular formula and the empirical formula of carbon dioxide is same. This is the molecular formula, and the empirical formula of carbon dioxide is same. So using an example, I will tell you how to find the empirical formula. This is a question from past paper. A colorless gas X contains 40% by mass sulfur and 60% by mass oxygen. Calculate the empirical formula for the gas X. We will calculate the empirical formula. 40% is of sulfur and 60% is of oxygen. The first step to calculate the empirical formula, what you have to do is let's make two columns first. The first column would be for sulfur and the second one would be for oxygen. So the percentage of oxygen was 60% and the percentage of sulfur was 40%. To find out the moles, firstly, what we have to do is to divide it by its MR. The periodic table would be given in P1 and P2. Using periodic table, the MR of sulfur is 32. So Divide 40 by 32, and the MR of oxygen, here it is given oxygen, is 16. Using calculator, divide it. 60 divided by 16. The answer is 3.75, and 40 divided by 32. The answer is 1.25. This is 5. Now, when you have calculated the moles, see that which one is of the less value. So here the sulfur per moles is of less value. What you have to do is to divide it by oxygen and sulfur itself. Now divide this 1.25 by sulfur itself and by oxygen. So the answer of sulfur would be 1, and let's divide it by 3.75 divided by 1.25. The answer would be 3. So the empirical formula for the gas X would be SO3. This is the empirical formula. I hope you understood how to calculate empirical formula. Thank you.